Captain Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge of his ship, the Harmony. He looked at the stars through the large window. His ship was moving toward a space station where important people from many alien races would meet. Daniel had been doing this job for 5 years. He was good at it. People liked him because he was kind and always tried to help. The Harmony was known across this part of space. Everyone said it was a ship of peace. Daniel and his crew went from place to place, helping people and talking to aliens. They had stopped wars before they started. They had brought food to hungry planets. They had saved lives during natural disasters. The ship had a good name. "Captain, we are getting close to the station," said Lieutenant Amy Richardson. She sat at the control panel, watching the ship's path. Amy had worked with Daniel for 3 years. She was calm and smart, just like most of the crew. Daniel smiled. "Good work, Amy. I will go meet with Ambassador Nicole Carter. You watch the bridge." "Yes, sir," Amy said. Daniel walked through the ship's halls. Crew members nodded to him as he passed. Everyone seemed relaxed and happy. That was how things always were on the Harmony. It was a peaceful place with peaceful people. He found Nicole in her office. She was reading information about the aliens they would meet today. The Krathons were a warrior race. They were big and strong, covered in thick scales like armor. They had built an empire by fighting other races and taking what they wanted. "Are you ready for this meeting?" Daniel asked. Nicole looked up. She was a smart woman who had solved many problems between different alien races. "As ready as I can be." The Krathons do not like to talk. They like to fight. But they agreed to come, so maybe they want to change. "Let us hope so," Daniel said. They arrived at the space station an hour later. The station was neutral ground, a place where any race could come safely. Inside the main meeting room, aliens from many different worlds waited. The Krathons sat on one side of the big table. They looked mean and dangerous. Commander Vexlar led the Krathon group. He was huge, even for his kind. His scales had marks from many battles. He looked at the humans like they were insects. Nicole began talking. She explained the trade agreement. Humans could give the Krathons food-growing technology. The Krathons could give humans their metalworking skills. Both sides would get something good. "We think this trade will help both our peoples," Nicole said. Her voice was friendly and professional. "You need food for your border worlds. We need better metals for building. We can help each other." Vexlar listened, but his face showed he was not happy. "You offer us food like we are weak and hungry. The Krathon Empire takes what it needs. We do not beg." Daniel leaned forward a little. He kept his friendly smile. "This is not about begging, Commander. This is about 2 strong peoples working together. Everyone wins." The Krathon stood up fast. His chair made a loud noise on the floor. "Strong?" He laughed, but it was not a nice laugh. "We have watched you, humans. You talk about peace all the time. You run away from fights. You ask nicely for things instead of taking them. You are not strong. You are weak." Nicole stayed calm. "We choose to solve problems by talking. That is not weakness, Commander. That is how smart people act." What happened next was fast. Vexlar reached across the table and hit Nicole hard across the face. The sound was loud in the quiet room. Nicole fell from her chair. The other aliens gasped. Daniel was on his feet in a second. He moved to help Nicole stand up. His face was still calm, but something in his eyes changed for just a moment. Something cold and hard. Then it was gone. "This meeting is finished," Daniel said quietly. His voice was controlled and even. "You see?" Vexlar said to all the other aliens in the room. "I hit their ambassador, and their captain does nothing. Humans are not fighters. They are prey animals who pretend to be dangerous. But they are just scared." Daniel helped Nicole to her feet. Blood came from her lip, but she stood straight and proud. Daniel looked at Vexlar for a long moment. "We are leaving now. Run back to your little peace ship," Vexlar called as they walked to the door. "The galaxy belongs to the strong, not to cowards like you." The humans left the meeting room. Other aliens watched them go. Some looked sorry for them. Others looked like they agreed with the Crathons. On the Harmony, Dr. Kevin Walsh checked Nicole's injuries. Kevin was the ship's doctor. He was a gentle man who spent most of his time helping aliens from other worlds. "The bruise will heal in a few days," he said softly. "I am sorry that happened." Nicole touched her swollen face carefully. "I have been insulted before. This is just more direct." Daniel stood by the big window, looking at the stars. He did not look happy or friendly now. His face was blank and quiet. Amy walked over to him. "What are your orders, Captain?" "Take us to the nearest human base," Daniel said. "We need to report what happened." "Should we complain to the Galactic Council?" Amy asked. "No," Daniel said. His voice was very quiet. "Not yet." Amy had worked with Daniel for a long time. She had never heard him sound like this before. Something about his voice made her feel strange and worried. On the space station, Commander Vexlar was happy. He told his warriors what happened. "Did you see them? I hit their ambassador right in the face, and their captain did nothing. The humans are exactly what we thought. They are soft and weak and easy to hurt." One of the younger Crathon warriors looked worried. "Commander, maybe we should be careful. Just because they do not fight does not mean they cannot fight." Vexlar waved his hand like he was brushing away a fly. "A race that will not defend its honor when attacked has no power for real fighting. The humans are no danger to anyone." He smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "Tell our fleet, human ships are easy targets now. They will not fight back. We should see how much we can take before they get brave." The message went out to all Crathon ships in the area. Human ships, which had always been helpful and kind, were now marked as prey. The predator races of the galaxy watched to see what would happen. The attacks on human cargo ships continued. Each week brought new reports. The Crathons would stop a human vessel, take whatever they wanted, and leave. Sometimes they damaged the engines just for fun. The human captains never fought back. They just let it happen and reported it later. Daniel read each report on the bridge of the Harmony. His crew watched him carefully. Something about him had changed since that meeting with the Crathons. He was still kind to everyone. He still smiled, but there was something different in his eyes now. "Captain, Human Command wants all diplomatic ships to be careful," Amy said. She read the message from headquarters. "They are sending more military ships to patrol the trade routes." "Too late for that," Daniel said quietly. "The Crathons have already decided we are easy targets. Sending patrols now just shows we were weak before." Dr. Kevin Walsh was working at his station. He looked up. "What else can we do? If we fight back with violence, we prove that the galaxy is ruled by strength, not by peace. And if we do nothing, we prove we are victims," Daniel replied. "There is a middle path, Kevin. But it needs perfect timing and complete strength." Before anyone could ask what he meant, the communications panel made an urgent sound. Lieutenant Lisa Chen looked at her screen, and her face went pale. "Captain, distress signal. The civilian transport Morning Star. They are in Sector 47. Crathon ships have boarded them." Daniel was at her station fast. "What cargo are they carrying?" "What? No cargo, sir." Lisa's voice shook. "They are a colony transport. 200 civilians. 70 of them are children. They are evacuating from Arcturus 4 because the terraforming failed." The bridge went completely silent. Taking cargo was one thing. Boarding a ship full of families and children was something else. Something much worse. "How far away are they?" Daniel asked. His voice was very calm now. 4 hours if we go as fast as possible," Amy answered. "Then we go as fast as possible." Daniel sat in his command chair. "Lisa, send a message to the Morning Star. Tell Captain Morrison that help is coming. Tell him to do whatever the Crathons say and keep everyone safe." "Yes, sir." As the Harmony's engines powered up to full speed, Kevin moved closer to Daniel. "Daniel, we are a diplomatic ship. We can defend ourselves, but we are not a warship. Daniel looked at him. I know what our official papers say, Doctor. Something in those words made Kevin pause. He had known Daniel for 5 years. Suddenly, he felt like he was looking at a stranger. On the Morning Star, Captain Jake Morrison tried to keep everyone calm. The Krathons had forced all 200 passengers into the cargo bay. It was a big space, but not big enough for that many scared people. Children were crying. Parents held them tight. Old people who had survived their colony failing now faced a new nightmare. Commander Vexlar walked among the humans. He seemed to enjoy their fear. This was the same Krathon who had hit Nicole at the peace meeting. He had heard about the easy pickings from human ships and decided to take a prize himself. Please, Jake said. He kept his voice steady even though his heart was pounding. These are civilians. Families. Take whatever you want from the ship, but let these people go. Vexlar turned to look at him. Whatever we want? He laughed. What we want, Captain, is to show the galaxy what happens to races who act weak. We are recording everything. Every alien race will see this. They will see how the great peaceful humans respond when someone takes their children. Jake felt ice in his stomach. You cannot be serious. But I am very serious. Vexlar spoke to his warriors in their own language. They started setting up cameras and recording equipment. When we finish here, every predator race will know that humans are easy targets. Your peace has made you helpless, and we will profit from that weakness. The recording started. It went out on public channels across the galaxy. Aliens on dozens of worlds saw the transmission. Krathon warriors holding human civilians at gunpoint. Children crying. A Krathon commander explaining that this was a lesson about human weakness. The message reached the Harmony 20 minutes later. Daniel watched it in his ready room. He was alone. He saw the scared faces. He heard the children crying. He watched Commander Vexlar hit a colonist who tried to protect his wife. When the recording ended, Daniel sat very still for a long moment. Then he stood up and walked to his locker. From the bottom, under his captain's uniforms, he pulled out a black case. Inside was another uniform. It was dark and made for fighting, not for diplomacy. Next to it was an identification chip. It showed a different rank, a different job. It said, Special Operations. He held the chip in his hand. He remembered the man he used to be, the soldier, the fighter. The man who solved problems with force instead of words. He had stopped being that man when humanity decided to show the galaxy a peaceful face. He had believed in that choice. He still believed in it. But there were lines. Lines that could not be crossed. And the Krathons had just crossed the biggest one. Daniel put the chip back in the case. He did not need to wear that uniform to be that man again. He just needed to decide. And he had decided. He went back to the bridge. Something about him was completely different now. The crew saw it immediately. The warmth was gone. The friendly captain had been replaced by something cold and focused and very, very dangerous. Status, he said. Just one word. But it made everyone stand straighter. 1 hour and 40 minutes to intercept, Amy said. Good. Daniel sat in his command chair with perfect stillness. Lisa, prepare a message to the Morning Star. Amy, begin protocol. Echo 7. Amy's hand stopped moving. Sir, Protocol Echo 7 is for combat. We have never used it. Then it is time we did. Daniel looked at his crew. They all looked back at him with new eyes. In about an hour and a half, the Krathon Empire will learn something about humanity. They will learn that kindness is a choice. Being peaceful is a choice. And when you threaten our children, we stop choosing to be nice. Kevin felt a chill. Daniel, what is Protocol Echo 7? Daniel's smile was nothing like his usual warm expression. It was cold and sharp like a knife. It is the protocol that shows what diplomatic ships really are. Doctor, we are not just diplomats. We never were. He stood up and faced his entire crew. Every person on this ship volunteered from military special operations. Every diplomatic ship in the human fleet has the same kind of crew. We wanted to show the galaxy our better side. We wanted to be helpers and peacemakers, and we have been. But we were also ready for the day when someone pushed too far. The transformation of the Harmony began. Panels on the outside of the ship started to move. They retracted into the hull. Underneath them were weapons. Big weapons. Military weapons. The diplomatic ship's true face was being revealed. Protocol Echo 7 means we stop pretending, Daniel said. We stop hiding what we can do. The Krathons wanted to see what happens when they threaten human children. They are about to find out. Amy found her voice. Orders, Captain? Prepare all weapon systems. Get the tactical team ready for boarding action. Set shields to maximum. Daniel looked at the stars ahead of them. And send one message to Commander Vexlar. Just 3 words. What words, sir? Daniel's expression was ice cold. We are coming. The message went out across space. On the Morning Star, Vexlar received it and laughed. They announced themselves like children. Even now they are predictable and weak. But one of his younger warriors looked worried. Commander, why would they announce their arrival? What purpose does that serve? It serves no purpose except to show their fear, Vexlar said. But somewhere deep in his mind, a small doubt began to form. The Harmony raced through space. On the bridge, the crew worked with new purpose. They were not playing at being diplomats anymore. They were soldiers again, trained soldiers, dangerous soldiers, and they were done being nice. 1 hour to target, Amy announced. Daniel nodded slowly. Good. Make sure all civilians on the Morning Star know to get down and cover their heads when we arrive. Things are going to get loud. Good. Lieutenant Brandon Cole came onto the bridge. He had always been the ship's recree. The Harmony dropped out of faster-than-light travel exactly 40,000 kilometers from the Morning Star. The diplomatic vessel appeared on every scanner in the area. 6 Krathon warships immediately moved to block its path. They were military vessels, armed and dangerous. They had been harassing human cargo ships for weeks with no resistance. Captain Daniel Hayes of the human ship Harmony. A Krathon voice came through the communication system. Stay away. This is a Krathon military operation. You have no authority here. Daniel stood at the center of his bridge. His crew worked around him with quiet efficiency. Every person knew their job. Every person was ready. I am giving you one chance, Daniel said. His voice was calm but hard. Release the civilians right now. Power down your weapons. Surrender to human authority. This is your only warning. The response was laughter. Harsh Krathon laughter that came through every speaker. Or what, Captain? What will you do, talk us to death? Write a complaint? You humans are all the same. You talk about consequences, but you never do anything. Daniel's expression did not change. You do not understand what you have done, but you will learn. Amy. Begin declassification sequence. Yes, sir. Amy's hands moved over her controls. On the Morning Star, Commander Vexlar was still broadcasting to the galaxy. He stood in front of the scared human civilians, enjoying his moment of power. Here comes the human rescue ship now. Watch as they beg and plead for the safe return of their people. Watch how the mighty, peaceful humans. He stopped talking. Through the viewport, something was happening to the Harmony. The ship was changing. Panels along its hull were sliding open. Underneath them, weapon systems were powering up. Missile ports appeared. Energy cannons extended. Shield generators glowed with power. The peaceful diplomatic ship was transforming into something else entirely. What is that? One of his warriors asked. Confusion filled his voice. Vexlar stared. It must be a trick. Some kind of visual deception. Humans are not warriors. They cannot be. But the weapons were real. The transformation was real. And every sensor confirmed it. Daniel's voice came over every communication channel. The Krathons heard it. The civilians heard it. Every alien race watching the public broadcast heard it. Let me tell you something about humans, Daniel said. We are not pacifists. We are not weak. We learned, through terrible wars on Earth, that civilization requires controlling violence. We choose peace. We prefer peace. We will sacrifice much for peace. His voice became harder. But we have never been unable to fight. And when you threaten our children, you discover exactly what we have been holding back all this time. Empty threats. Vexlar broadcast back. His confidence was shaking now. You have one ship. We have 6 military vessels. You are outnumbered. The Harmony fired, not at the Krathon ships. The shot went past them and hit a small asteroid in the distance. The rock turned to vapor instantly. The precision was perfect. The power was overwhelming. That single demonstration shot said more than any words could. You have 10 seconds, Daniel said. Release the civilians. Surrender your ships. If you refuse, I will disable every vessel you have. I will board the Morning Star. I will take our people back. You can cooperate or you can be forced. Your choice. 10 seconds starts now. On the Morning Star, a young Krathon warrior looked at his commander. Fear showed in his eyes. Sir, perhaps we should reconsider. If they can do that to an asteroid, they can. We are Krathon warriors, Vexlar shouted. We do not surrender to prey animals. He grabbed a little human girl from the crowd. The child screamed. Her name was Emma, and she was only 5 years old. Vexlar lifted her off the ground. Come any closer, human ship, and I will. He never finished the sentence. The Harmony struck. What happened next took 3 seconds. 3 seconds that military strategists would study for years. Every Krathon ship was hit at the same time. Multiple weapons struck multiple targets. Engines exploded, weapon systems melted, communication arrays shattered, life support systems failed, but none of the ships were destroyed. Not one. Every shot was perfectly calculated. Every strike was precisely controlled. The Krathons were not killed. They were disarmed. In 3 seconds, 6 military vessels went from combat-ready to floating wrecks. The message was clear. This was not lucky shooting. This was absolute mastery of warfare. The humans could have killed everyone. They chose not to. That made it even more terrifying. Boarding teams. Launch, Daniel ordered. Small attack craft shot out from the Harmony like bullets. They moved in perfect formation. Military precision. Combat expertise. These were not civilian rescue workers. These were soldiers who had trained for exactly this kind of operation. In the cargo bay of the Morning Star, Jake Morrison watched the Krathons panic. These warriors who had been so confident were now scared. They tried to raise their weapons, but small explosions marked the walls. Breach charges. The humans were coming in through multiple entry points at once. Everyone down! Jake shouted to the civilians. Get on the floor and cover your heads. Do not look up. The colonists dropped immediately. They covered their children with their own bodies. They pressed themselves to the deck. The first breach charge blew open the secondary entrance. Smoke filled the cargo bay. Through the smoke came human soldiers in black armor. They moved like water, flowing around obstacles, covering each other, taking positions with practiced ease. Brandon Cole's voice boomed through speakers in his helmet. Civilians, stay down. Cover your heads. Do not move until we say it is safe. The Krathons tried to fight. They raised their weapons. They shouted war cries. They were trained warriors from a culture built on combat. It did not matter. The human soldiers moved with such speed and precision that the fight was over before it really began. 3 seconds of weapons fire, stun pulses, disabling shots. Every Krathon warrior in the cargo bay went down, not dead, wounded, but alive. Conscious enough to feel their defeat, but unable to fight back. The humans had taken them apart like children. All clear, Brandon announced. Civilians are secure. 14 Krathon fighters are down and disarmed. 0 human casualties. Mission complete. On the Harmony's bridge, Daniel allowed himself one small nod of satisfaction. Good. Send medical teams to the Morning Star. Bring our people home. Amy looked at him. She had served with Daniel for 3 years. She thought she knew him. Now she realized she had only known half of him. "Sir, that was incredible. That was necessary," Daniel corrected. "The Krathons needed to learn a lesson. Now, they have learned it." Commander Vexlar was on his knees in the cargo bay, his hands secured behind his back with restraints. 2 human soldiers stood over him. They were half his size, but they were completely in control. He stared up at Brandon in shock and confusion. "How?" Vexlar asked. "You are peaceful. You run from fights. You talk instead of acting. You are weak. Brandon cut him off. "We avoid unnecessary fights, Commander. We tried to teach you the difference between choosing peace and being unable to fight. You did not want to learn the easy way." He gestured at the scene around them. "This is the hard way. Consider yourself educated." Within an hour, all 200 civilians were safe on the Harmony. Medical teams checked everyone for injuries. Dr. Kevin Walsh personally examined each child. His gentle bedside manner was back, now that the danger had passed. He smiled at the scared children and spoke softly to their worried parents. Emma, the little girl Vexlar had grabbed, was checked carefully. "Am I safe now?" she asked Kevin with wide eyes. "You are very safe," Kevin promised. "The bad people cannot hurt you anymore." "Are those soldiers going to hurt people?" Emma asked. Kevin thought about how to answer. "Those soldiers protect people. They only fight when they have to. Like when someone tries to hurt children. Then they stop being nice and start being strong. But they are still good people." The Krathon boarding party was secured in the Harmony's brig. Like the ship's weapons, the brig had been hidden in plain sight. It was more than adequate for holding prisoners. Everything about the diplomatic ship had been carefully designed for dual purposes. Jake Morrison made his way to the bridge. He needed to thank Captain Hayes personally. When he arrived, he found Daniel standing at the viewport, looking at the disabled Krathon ships drifting in space. "Captain Hayes," Jake said. His voice was full of emotion. "Thank you. I do not know how to properly thank you for what you did." Daniel turned. The warm smile was back on his face. It was like looking at a completely different person than the cold warrior from earlier. "No thanks are necessary, Captain Morrison. We protect our own. That is what we do." But everyone thought, the whole galaxy thinks, humans are peaceful. "We are peaceful," Daniel said gently. "Peace and powerlessness are not the same thing, Jake. We spent thousands of years learning that lesson on Earth. We fought terrible wars. We hurt each other badly. We learned what violence costs. That is why we choose peace now. Not because we cannot fight, because we know what fighting really means." He put a hand on Jake's shoulder. "Go be with your people. They need to see you. They need to know everything is okay." After Jake left, Nicole Carter came onto the bridge. The ambassador had been preparing documents. "Daniel, I have written a statement for the Galactic Council. It explains our actions. Will you deliver it soon?" Daniel asked. "After we get these civilians to safety. After we transfer the Krathon prisoners to proper authorities. Then I will tell the galaxy exactly what happened here and why." Daniel looked back at the disabled Krathon ships. "The secret is out now. Every race in the galaxy will know that human diplomatic ships are also military vessels. We cannot hide anymore. Maybe that is for the best," Nicole said. "Maybe the galaxy needed to see all of us. The helpers and the fighters. The diplomats and the soldiers. All of it is real. All of it is human." On the lead Krathon ship, the crew worked desperately to restore communications. When they finally got their systems working again, the first message they received was from Krathon High Command. It was very short and very angry. "What have you done?" the message said. "You attacked human civilians and forced them to reveal their military capabilities. You started a conflict we did not understand. Explain yourself immediately." Vexlar, sitting in a human cell, had no good explanation. He had seen humans as weak. He had mistaken their kindness for inability. He had pushed and pushed, thinking there would never be consequences. He had been catastrophically wrong. The galaxy had thought humans were pacifists who had evolved beyond violent news of the Harmony incident spread across the galaxy like fire. Every major news channel showed the footage. Aliens on hundreds of worlds watched the recording over and over. They saw the peaceful diplomatic ship transform into a warship. They saw 6 Krathon military vessels disabled in seconds. They saw human soldiers move with precision and skill that shocked everyone. The footage was analyzed by military experts from dozens of species. They played it in slow motion, studying every detail. The conclusion was always the same. This was not beginners getting lucky. This was mastery. Complete and total mastery of warfare. On the Harmony, Daniel gathered his entire crew in the main assembly hall. 200 people filled the space. Every person there had volunteered for the same mission. They had all been soldiers once, special forces, elite fighters. Then they had chosen to become diplomats instead. "I know many of you hoped we would never need to show what we really are," Daniel said to his crew. "We all hoped that. We wanted to be teachers and helpers and bridge builders. We have been those things. For 5 years, we have done good work." He paused. "But the Krathons forced our hand. When they took our children, we had no choice. What we did was right, and I would do it again." Dr. Kevin Walsh stood up from his seat. "Captain, what happens now? We built trust by being peaceful. How do we maintain that trust when everyone knows we were hiding weapons all along?" Nicole Carter stepped forward to answer. "By being honest about why we did it. I am writing a statement for the Galactic Council. It will explain everything. Humans wanted to show the galaxy our better nature, but we also needed the ability to protect ourselves and our friends. Every species has that right. Some aliens will call it lying," said Lieutenant Lisa Chen. "Perhaps," Nicole agreed. "But we never actually lied. We said we were explorers and diplomats. That was true. We said we preferred peaceful solutions. That was also true. We simply did not mention that all our diplomatic people have military training. That was information we kept private." On Earth, human military leadership met in emergency session. Admiral Patricia Scott stood before a room full of senior officers. "The situation is complicated but manageable. Our early data shows that most species actually respect what happened. They see it as smart planning. Have peace, but prepare for war. The aggressive species are angry, which tells us they were planning to keep exploiting us." A young officer raised her hand. "Admiral, what about the other diplomatic vessels? Should they all reveal their capabilities now?" "That choice is left to individual captains," Patricia replied. "Some may stay hidden, but the option to reveal is now available if needed." She brought up a map of human space. "The good news is that Krathon harassment has completely stopped. 3 other aggressive species also stopped testing our boundaries. Fear spreads as fast as respect in the galaxy." Back on the Harmony, the crew worked to help their rescued passengers. The colonists from the Morning Star had rooms throughout the ship. Many were still trying to understand what they had seen. Their gentle rescuers had become warriors, and then gentle again. It was confusing. Ashley Mitchell found Daniel in the observation lounge. He was drinking coffee and watching the stars. Her daughter Emma was asleep in her arms. "Captain Hayes, can I talk to you?" "Of course." Daniel pointed to the seat next to him. "How is Emma doing?" She is okay. Bad dreams. But Dr. Walsh says that is normal." Ashley looked at Daniel carefully. "I wanted to ask you something. When you rescued us, you were different. Harder, colder. But now, you are kind again. Which one is the real you?" Daniel thought about the question. "Both are real. My crew and I were soldiers. We were good at it. But we saw what constant fighting does to people. We wanted something different. We wanted to help humanity move past its violent history. We wanted to show the galaxy that we could be better than that." He looked at Emma sleeping. "But we also promised to protect human lives. When being peaceful meant letting our people get hurt, especially children, there was no choice. We had to act." "You could have been soldiers from the start," Ashley said. You are obviously skilled at it. Why hide it? Because the galaxy did not need more warriors. It needed people who built bridges between species. Daniel's expression was sad. There are thousands of aggressive races out there, Ashley. If humanity had shown up as just another military power, we would have been one voice among many. Everyone would have seen us as a threat. By showing up as diplomats who truly wanted peace, we became something special. We built friendships that a military approach could never have created. But aggressive species saw you as weak. Some did. The Krathens did. Daniel nodded. But most species understood. They knew that choosing peace from a position of strength is different from accepting peace because you have no choice. The ones who saw us as easy prey were always going to be a problem. Better to deal with it now. Ashley shifted Emma in her arms. My daughter asked me today if the nice soldiers hurt people. I did not know what to tell her. Daniel reached over and gently fixed Emma's blanket. Tell her that the soldiers are nice because they choose to be. But they protect people because they must. Tell her that being kind and being strong are not opposites. You can be both. You should be both. He looked at Ashley. And tell her that as long as there are children like her around, there will be people like me making sure she grows up safe. In the capital of the Krathon Empire, the High Council met. The Krathon Emperor was an old warrior with scars from 100 battles. He watched the Harmony footage for the 6th time. His advisors waited nervously. Give me your analysis, the Emperor commanded. The military coordinator stepped forward. The human ship showed weapons technology we did not know existed. But more concerning is the precision. To disable 6 ships at once without destroying them requires incredible skill and control. These are not amateurs. These are experts who chose not to kill. And what does that mean? The Emperor asked. It means that every time we saw human restraint as weakness, we were wrong. They were not weak. They were exercising control. They were holding back. The coordinator paused. Your Majesty. If their diplomatic ships are this capable, imagine what their actual military fleet must be like. Are you? The question hung heavy in the air. The Emperor's face darkened. What about Vexlar and his warriors? In human custody. According to reports, the humans are treating them well. Medical care. Proper food. Decent quarters. They even sent us video proof that our people are not being harmed. Of course they did. The Emperor laughed. But it was bitter. Even in victory, they show restraint. It is almost an insult. He stood from his throne. Send a formal apology to the human government. Return all stolen cargo and pay compensation. Issue orders to all our forces. Human ships are not to be approached without proper diplomatic permission. Your Majesty, our warriors will see this as weakness. Our warriors nearly started a war they did not understand, the Emperor snapped. I did not build this empire by being stupid. The humans are far more dangerous than they appear, precisely because they do not look dangerous. We will treat them with the respect their capabilities demand, not the disrespect their kindness invited. At Space Station Delta 7, where this had all begun, representatives from many species gathered to hear Ambassador Nicole Carter speak. The chamber was crowded. Everyone wanted to hear how humanity would explain themselves. Nicole walked to the speaker's platform. Her face still showed faint bruising from where Vexlar had struck her. It was a reminder of how everything started. She spoke in a calm, measured voice. Members of the Council, I am here to address the Harmony incident. I will not apologize for our actions. We have nothing to apologize for. When our civilians were taken hostage, when 70 children were threatened, we responded. We used exactly the force necessary to solve the problem while keeping casualties to a minimum. A Krathon representative stood up. You deceived the galaxy. You pretended to be peaceful while hiding military power. Nicole looked at him steadily. We presented ourselves as preferring peace. That was true. We did not advertise our defensive capabilities. But tell me, Counselor, does your species advertise all its military secrets? Does any species here? No one answered. The truth is this, Nicole continued. Humanity learned hard lessons on Earth. We evolved as hunters on a dangerous planet. We spent thousands of years fighting each other. We became very good at warfare. Very good at violence. She paused. But we also learned wisdom. We learned that just because you can destroy something does not mean you should. We learned that true strength means knowing when not to use force. She showed images on a holographic display. Ancient human wars. Modern conflicts. Then images of humans in space, helping aliens, conducting peaceful missions, saving lives. This is humanity's journey. We went from fighting each other to protecting each other, from hatred to cooperation. When we reached the stars, we wanted to show our better nature. We wanted to prove that a species can change, that a species can choose peace without giving up the ability to defend itself. A representative from the peaceful Trellan species spoke. Ambassador Carter, many of us appreciated what we thought was your commitment to non-violence. Was that always an act? No, Nicole said firmly. Our commitment to peace is genuine and real. But non-violence and defenselessness are not the same thing. We will not start fights. We will not seek conflict. We will try every peaceful option first. But when someone crosses from disagreement into predation, when someone threatens our children, her voice became hard as steel. Then they discover that our kindness was a choice, not a weakness. And they face the consequences of mistaking patience for inability. She looked around the chamber at representatives from aggressive species. Let me be absolutely clear. Humanity wants peace. We will work for peace. We will sacrifice for peace. But we will not sacrifice our people for peace. The line is drawn at our children. Cross that line and you will meet the humans we used to be before we chose to be better. You will meet the hunters who conquered a deadly world. You will meet the warriors who learned self-control. And you will discover exactly what we have been controlling all this time. The chamber was silent. We hope, Nicole said more gently, that this incident will be the last of its kind. We would much rather be your friends, your trading partners, your allies in building a better galaxy. That offer stands. But it is now an offer made with complete honesty. We are a species that chooses peace but has never been unable to wage war. She left the platform. The chamber erupted in discussion. But Nicole did not stay to hear it. She had said what needed to be said. The galaxy could decide how to respond. On the Harmony, Daniel watched the speech with his crew. When it ended, he smiled slightly. Well, I suppose we are officially revealed now. No more hiding what we are. 2 weeks after the Harmony incident, the galaxy had changed. Human diplomatic ships continued their work. But now everyone knew the truth. These were not just peaceful explorers. They were dual-purpose vessels crewed by people who could be gentle or deadly, depending on what the situation required. Captain Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge as the Harmony approached the Trellan colony. The plague that had been killing thousands was finally under control. The medical supplies they carried would save many more lives. Despite everything that had happened, the mission of helping others continued. Captain, the Trellan governor is calling, Lisa said. He wants to thank us personally. Daniel smiled. It was his real warm smile. Put him through. Amy, bring us into orbit. Governor Sillern appeared on the screen. He was a gentle being from a peaceful species. Captain Hayes, I have been following the news about what happened with the Krathons. I must admit, I am troubled by what I learned. Daniel nodded. I understand, Governor. Many peaceful species are troubled. We accept that. No, Captain, you misunderstand. Sillern said. I am troubled that we did not know this before. If we had understood that humans could defend yourselves, we would have felt safer. Many peaceful species would have felt safer. Daniel had not expected that response. Safer? Yes, of course. The galaxy has many aggressive species. The Krathons are not the only ones who see peaceful races as potential victims. We have all faced threats and harassment. Having a powerful species who genuinely wanted to help us would have been comforting. Selarn looked earnest. We thought you were like us, unable to defend yourselves. We worried for you. We worried that the predators would eventually hurt your people because you seemed helpless. Doctor, Kevin Walsh spoke up from his station. Governor, we did not want to look like just another aggressive military power. We wanted to build trust, and you did, Selarn assured him. The fact that you have such power but choose to use it only for defense makes us trust you more, not less. You could dominate the sector. You choose to cooperate instead. That is real strength. After the conversation ended, Daniel sat back in his chair, thinking. We spent so much time worrying that showing our military side would damage relationships. We never considered that hiding it might worry our friends. The Trellans are not alone, Nicole said, entering the bridge with her datapad. I have received messages from 17 different species. All peaceful or semi-peaceful, all saying they feel relieved that humans can defend not just ourselves but potential allies too. What about the aggressive species? Daniel asked. Mixed reactions. Most have gone quiet, thinking about what this means. A few reached out to establish clear boundaries and better communication. The Krathon Emperor sent a personal message. He apologized for Vexillar's actions and requested a mutual defense agreement. Daniel raised his eyebrows. That surprises me. It should not. Think about their culture. They respect strength. We showed overwhelming strength while exercising perfect control. In their worldview, that is the highest form of power. Nicole sat down. The Emperor's message was actually quite respectful. He said any species that can win without needing to kill is a species worth having as an ally. Over the next few days, while the Harmony completed its medical mission, the broader effects became clear. Throughout human space, diplomatic vessels began openly showing what they were. Some added new markings to their hulls. Others held demonstrations for allied species, proving their capabilities. The response was mostly positive. Trade increased because merchants felt safer in human-protected space. Diplomatic talks became easier because species understood that human requests came from strength, not desperation. Several smaller species asked for formal protection treaties with humanity. But there were problems too. 3 aggressive species filed complaints with the Galactic Council. They claimed that human deception violated interstellar law. The Council held a major debate that lasted days. Billions of aliens across the galaxy watched the proceedings. Ambassador Nicole Carter had to testify again. This time, she was essentially on trial. The council chamber was packed with representatives from hundreds of worlds. Nicole wore her formal diplomatic clothes. The bruise on her face was gone now, but everyone remembered how she got it. Ambassador Carter, the council chairman said, you are accused of deliberately misleading the galactic community about human military power. How do you answer this charge? Mate, Nicole stood calmly. I answer that the charge is false. We never claimed to be defenseless. We never lied about what we could do. We chose to emphasize our diplomatic work while keeping our defensive abilities private. Every species has the right to keep military information private. A representative from the aggressive Scaran species stood up. You built warships and disguised them as diplomatic vessels. That is deception. We built diplomatic vessels with strong defenses, Nicole corrected. Many species here do the same thing. The Scaran diplomatic ship that brought you here has military-grade weapons and shields, does it not? The Scaran representative hesitated. That is different. How is it different? Nicole asked calmly. You are a diplomat traveling in a ship that can fight if necessary. So are we. The only difference is we did not advertise that fact until we were forced to. Governor Selarn, attending as a witness, asked to speak. Mr. Chairman, may I offer perspective from a peaceful species? Humanity's approach follows the old saying about speaking softly while carrying a big stick. They spoke softly for years. The fact that they had a stick the whole time does not change the sincerity of their soft words. A neutral species representative asked a question. Ambassador Carter, Why did humanity choose this approach? Why hide your military capabilities at all? And, Nicole looked around the chamber. Because we were afraid that if we showed you our capacity for violence, you would never see anything else. Earth's history is full of blood and war. We fought ourselves for thousands of years. We became experts at killing. When we finally made peace on our world and reached the stars, we wanted to leave that history behind. We wanted you to know us as builders, not destroyers. She showed images again. Human wars throughout history. Then, images of humans in space, helping other species, conducting peaceful research, saving lives. But we also knew the galaxy has dangers. Aggressive species who see kindness as weakness, pirates who prey on the helpless, disasters requiring rapid response. We needed to protect ourselves and help others. So we created a diplomatic fleet where every member trained in both peace and war. Scholars who could become soldiers if necessary, helpers who could become fighters when required. We could be whatever each situation needed. And you did not trust the galaxy with this information? The chairman asked. We did not trust that you would look past it. Nicole replied honestly. If we had arrived as warriors first and diplomats second, would you have welcomed our peaceful overtures? Would species like the Trellans have seen us as friends, or feared us as conquerors? She met the chairman's eyes. We made a calculated choice to lead with our better nature, while keeping our capacity for violence in reserve. That was not deception. That was wisdom born from hard experience. The debate went on for hours, but the momentum had shifted. Too many species, especially peaceful ones who had benefited from human help, spoke in support of humanity. Eventually, the council dismissed the complaint. They ruled that maintaining defensive capabilities while conducting diplomacy was not only legal but sensible and expected. When Nicole returned to the Harmony, the crew applauded her arrival. Daniel met her at the docking bay. Well done, Ambassador. You officially made it legal for humans to be prepared while being peaceful. It was always legal, Nicole laughed. We just made it explicit. 3 months passed. Life returned to a new normal. Human diplomatic vessels continued their missions across the galaxy. The Krathon Empire became surprisingly cooperative, even asking humans to mediate a dispute with another aggressive species. Pirates stopped targeting human ships entirely. Word spread quickly that it was not worth the risk. On the Harmony, Captain Daniel Hayes sat in the observation lounge watching stars pass by. The ship was traveling to its next assignment. The door opened and several of the rescued colonists from the Morning Star entered. Ashley Mitchell was with them. Her daughter Emma held her hand. Captain, Ashley said, we are transferring to the ship that will take us to our new colony today. We wanted to say goodbye properly. Daniel stood and shook hands with each colonist. Emma ran forward and hugged his leg. He knelt down to her level. You take care of your mother, Emma. Remember what I told you about being kind and strong at the same time. I remember, Emma said seriously. Be nice to people, but do not let bad people hurt your family. Exactly right. Daniel smiled and gently touched her hair. After they left, Dr. Kevin Walsh joined Daniel at the window. Do you think we did the right thing? Revealing what we really are? Daniel thought about it. The Krathons forced our hand. But yes, in the long run, honesty is better. The galaxy needs to understand the complete truth about humanity. We are a species that learned to control our violent nature. We never lost the capacity for violence. But we choose not to use it unless absolutely necessary. That is the only kind of peace that lasts. Peace maintained by those capable of war but choosing not to fight, Kevin said. Exactly. Any other kind of peace is just an illusion waiting to be broken by the first aggressor. Daniel looked at the stars. We showed the galaxy our better nature, and that was real. But we also showed them our complete nature. Both parts are true. Both parts are human. On Earth, Admiral Patricia Scott reviewed quarterly reports. Human diplomatic missions were up 40%. Requests for human mediation had tripled. Trade was flourishing. Most importantly, not a single human ship had been attacked in 3 months. She watched the recording of the Harmony incident again. The peaceful ship transforming into a warship, and then back to peaceful. It was beautiful in its way. A perfect demonstration of humanity's evolution from constant war to chosen peace. Her assistant knocked. "Admiral, the new class of diplomatic recruits is ready for orientation. You wanted to speak to them." Patricia straightened her uniform. "Send them in." 50 young people entered her office, all recent graduates from both diplomatic academy and military training. They would crew the next generation of human diplomatic vessels. "Welcome," Patricia said. "You are about to begin the most important work humanity has ever done. You will be our ambassadors to the galaxy. You will represent the best of what we can be: compassionate, intelligent, patient, kind. You will save lives, make peace, explore new worlds, build friendships between species." She paused. "You will also be warriors. You will carry weapons you hope never to use. You will maintain skills you pray you never need. You will prepare for violence while dedicating yourselves to peace. This balance is what makes you human. This balance will keep our people safe while we build a better galaxy." A young woman named Heather raised her hand. "Admiral, what if we face another situation like the Harmony? What if we have to reveal ourselves again?" Patricia smiled. "Then you reveal yourselves. The secret is out. The galaxy knows what we are now. That is actually good. Now, when we offer friendship, everyone knows it comes from strength. When we ask for peace, it is not because we fear war. When we help others, it is because we choose to, not because we are unable to do anything else." She looked at each recruit. "You are diplomats and warriors, healers and fighters. This combination makes you effective at both roles. Embrace it. Be kind, be patient, be helpful, but never forget you are also protectors of those who cannot protect themselves. That is your duty. That is your honor. That is what being human among the stars means." The recruits stood straighter. On the Harmony, Daniel finished his coffee and headed to the bridge. A scientific expedition needed escort through dangerous space. A colony requested medical help. A trade dispute needed mediation. Just another day for a diplomatic vessel. He entered the bridge where his crew waited. Amy at navigation, Kevin at science, Lisa at communications, Brandon ready with his tactical team, all wearing diplomatic uniforms, all knowing that beneath those uniforms were warriors who would emerge if needed. "Status?" Daniel asked, sitting in his command chair. "All systems ready, Captain," Amy reported. "Course laid in. Excellent." Daniel's smile was warm and genuine. It had convinced many species that humans were simply nice people. They were nice people, but they were also so much more. "Let us go do some good in the galaxy." Engage. The Harmony jumped to faster than light speed. It carried its crew of scholar warriors, diplomat soldiers, healers who could fight, fighters who could heal. They were human in all the beautiful, complicated ways that word meant. Kind enough to help anyone. Strong enough to protect everyone. Wise enough to know when each was needed. The galaxy had learned to fear nice humans. More importantly, they had learned respect. The truly dangerous species were not the ones who showed their strength immediately. The dangerous ones were those who smiled with real kindness, worked for peace with genuine dedication, and only showed their capacity for violence when you crossed the line they had clearly drawn. Those species were the ones to respect. Those species had learned to master their own nature without losing it. Those species could be your greatest friend or your worst enemy, depending entirely on how you treated them. Those species were human, and now everyone knew it. The galaxy would be better for that knowledge. Peaceful species felt safer. Aggressive species thought twice. And humanity could finally be completely honest about who and what they were. Warriors who chose peace. Predators who protected the weak. Hunters who helped the hunted. Complex, contradictory, and completely human. The stars shone on a galaxy that had learned an important lesson, and the humans sailed through those stars, ready to help or fight as needed, but always hoping for the former and preparing for the latter. That was wisdom. That was strength. That was humanity. Were we ever really hiding? Amy asked. We were doing real diplomatic work. True, Daniel agreed. We just were not sharing our complete resume. He stood. All right, people. We still have a job to do. Those medical supplies need to reach the Trellin colony. Let us get back to being the helpful humans everyone thought we were. We just will not pretend we cannot defend ourselves anymore. The Harmony set course for its destination, a ship full of diplomats who were also warriors, doctors who could fight, teachers who could protect. Kind people who were also dangerous people. They were human. Complex and contradictory and honest about both sides of their nature now. Now they knew the truth. Humans were not pacifists. They were warriors who had learned to restrain themselves. Warriors who had decided that civilization meant controlling violence, not eliminating it. And there was nothing more dangerous than a warrior who knew when to fight and when not to fight. Nothing more terrifying than someone who could destroy you but chose not to. Nothing more powerful than kindness backed by strength. The Krathons had learned that lesson. Now the rest of the galaxy would learn it too. Tion officer, running exercise programs. Now he wore combat armor. Tactical team is ready. Captain. 60 soldiers. Full equipment. Excellent. When we make our move, the Krathons will not expect a boarding action. Use that surprise. With pleasure, sir. As the Harmony got closer to the morning star, Daniel thought about the choice he was making. For 5 years, he had been a man of peace. He had talked and helped and built friendships across the galaxy. That had been real. That had mattered. But so was this. Protecting the weak, saving children, showing bullies that there were consequences. That was real too. The Krathons had made a mistake. They thought peaceful meant powerless. They thought kind meant weak. They were about to learn the difference between choosing not to fight and being unable to fight. And it was going to be a very hard lesson. In his private room on the Harmony, Daniel sat alone. He looked at a picture on his desk. It showed him in a different uniform, standing with soldiers. The words under it said, Special Operations Group. He had not thought about those days for a long time. Before he became a captain who talked and helped, he had been a captain who fought and won. He touched the picture frame, then turned it face down and put it in a drawer. When he went back to the bridge, his friendly smile was back. But Amy saw his eyes. They were still cold. 3 weeks passed. In that time, Krathon ships started attacking human cargo ships. They took the cargo and left the ships damaged. The human captains always cooperated. They did not fight. They valued their crew's lives more than the supplies. Each time it happened, the Krathons got braver. They started to think humans would never fight back, no matter what they did. It was a dangerous mistake. The Krathons did not understand something important about humans. Being kind is a choice. Being peaceful is a choice. And choices can change when someone crosses the wrong line.